Hey guys, hope y'all are doing well today. I wanted to do another Shop My Stash video. These seem to be pretty popular, and every time I do one, I get asked to keep doing more. So I'm going to. So I have to say I'm not going to say I've whittled down my stash, because if you saw it, you would be like, you've got to be kidding me. But I have gotten rid of a lot of stuff that I don't reach for. So finding products that I still have that I don't reach for is getting a little bit harder. But I was able to put together a full face of stuff that I don't want to get rid of, but that I still don't reach for as much. And that's what we're going to be using today. So we're just going to go ahead and jump right in. So I've already done my brows and primed my eyes per usual. And we are going to start with the face, because I've been liking to do that lately. Let the foundation and concealer kind of sink in, and then we'll go on to the eyes. So this is going to be a lot of stuff that I don't reach for anymore. A lot of it is because I'm trying to clean up my daily routine as far as foundations that have alcohol and fragrance, and primers that do, and whatnot. The powders are, there's nothing wrong with them. There's nothing wrong with the primers and foundation. It's just something I don't reach for. It used to be my absolute favorite primer of all time. It's the YSL Touche Éclat Blur Primer. I went through 2 of the big bottles, and all I have is this small one. I'm not going to be repurchasing it because of the fragrance, and it could possibly have alcohol. But I do like this primer, so I'm going to use this because I have not used it in ages. So I'm just going to get some out and spread it on my face. This is a very dimethicone based, silky, slippy feeling primer. So if you are not a fan of that, then you won't like this, but it really does smooth the skin and get it ready for foundation. So I am going to prime my under eyes with a color corrector, as always, using the Color Science 3-in-1. Nothing new here. Can't shop my stash for this because it's the only thing that I use for color correcting anymore. Don't much have anything else. I'm looking for another orange color corrector. I think Jane Iredale has like a more of a darker peach orange, but it's a cream base. I'm trying to find a liquid, because y'all know my favorite liquid of all time is the Armani Master Corrector, and I may just have to bite the bullet and get that again. Okay, now I don't know that I have ever used this on my channel. I don't even know if it matches me, so let's cut me a little bit of slack if it doesn't. This is the Dior Skin Air Flash Spray Foundation. So all of y'all know what it looks like. It's the aerosol-based foundation from Dior. I am in the color, or I have the color 300. I don't know if I'm in the color. I've literally only used this like twice, and I've had it for quite a while. You shake it up really, really good, if you can even hear my talking. I know that's going to be so annoying. All right, now, there's a lot of different ways that people use this. They will spray it in their hands and pick it up from that. They will spray it on their face and use it that way, or they will spray it directly onto a brush. I'm going to be using the It Cosmetics dual-ended Heavenly Luxe No. 7 brush. All the times that I have used this, have preferred to spray it on my hand and work from there. So that's what I'm going to do. So that's the color right there. I can smell it first and foremost. Pick it up on my brush and stipple it in. A little goes a long way, which is another reason I advise putting it on your brush first, or on your hand or brush first, because if you spray it directly on your face, not only is it going to get in your hair and possibly on your clothes, but you will likely use too much. So that little amount that I sprayed on my hand is plenty for my entire face. Now I am going to spray just a tiny bit more for my neck, because I want everything to match. I think this color is going to be fine. I'm not worried about the color. I think it's going to be fine. So you can see the finish is pretty luminous. I'm going to go over and just tap out any streaks that might be there, although I didn't see any. This is a very slightly damp beauty blender. It's not really going to pick up too much of the product, but it's just going to kind of even it out. So, it's a pretty foundation. I am not going to lie, and I really don't know why it spent so long in my drawer, but I just never reach for it. It's going to be one of those special occasion foundations, because A, it's not going to last forever. B, it doesn't have the best ingredients for me. And C, it's expensive. So, but that is the foundation. So let's go on to concealer. This concealer is, again, something I don't think I've ever talked about on my channel. And it is the Clé de Peau concealer. Clé de Peau Beauté, however you say it, concealer. It's their famous stick concealer that I know is talked about a lot. I am in the color Almond, so it looks like this. Now, I do not recommend going straight under your eye with this because this is very fully concentrated and I think you will get too much. It's very hard for it to crease. It is a very gorgeous concealer, but I do think that you will apply too much if you do it that way. So I like to take a concealer brush. This is the Perfect Face concealer brush. Chad's leaving. He didn't say bye to me. And I'm going to just pick up the product from the actual bullet onto the concealer brush. This is not a brightening color for me. I mean, it's a little brightening, and I'm just patting it in because, again, I don't want to disturb that color science. But it's not like super bright. I am not in the camp that likes a super bright under eye. I can't really explain why. I just don't think it looks... Oh, he just texted me goodbye. I just don't think it looks very natural, I guess. On me. I'm not bashing anybody else who does it. All right, so that, you can see how far that went. And I would say it's a strong medium coverage. It can be built up to a really full coverage, but you know, that just requires more product, and I'm not as worried anymore as I get older about covering everything up. Okay, so I apply it that way. And then I'll go in with the Beauty Blender and just tap it out just to make sure all the edges are nice and blended out. You can also apply it with your finger. The warmth of your finger will help warm it up. But that is the concealer. Again, very pretty. It doesn't crease on me. And you can see from that application the amount of coverage that it provides. But again, I do like to use a concealer brush with it. And I really like this concealer brush. I'm going to link it down below. I want to try more of their brushes because this is just the perfect size and shape. It's really also good for applying liquid foundation before you buff it out. I don't know. I've never talked about it, but I really like it. Okay, so now I'm going to let that sink into my face while we go onto the eyes. And as I was shopping my stash for my eyes, I do try to mix it up a lot. Obviously, I have my favorites and I get stuck on a certain palette and I will, you know, stay on that for a couple of weeks, but I do try to rotate it up as much as possible. But one kind of brand and particular item that I realized I have not been picking up much lately is the Nudestix magnetic eye colors. They have metallic, they have matte, they have shimmer, they have all kinds of finishes, but I just haven't been reaching for them much, and I've always liked them. So I wanted to give them a try again, and this one is actually a matte color, and it is in the color Terra. So I don't know. I have a couple of meetings this afternoon. I don't want to go in with like crazy makeup. So I think I'm going to, you know, keep this fairly, I've got to put this phone on my couch. I'm sorry. I want to keep it fairly normal looking. Not that crazy eye makeup isn't normal for some people, but for me, I just feel more comfortable going into a meeting setting, not looking crazy. So this color is again called Terra, and it's just this really pretty warm brown. It's just perfect. Like, it's one of those one and done type of eyeshadow colors where you sweep it on your eye and buff it out with your finger or a brush and you are good to go. We're going to add a little bit more because, you know, I want to, but we are going to start just putting this on the eye, and I'm going to start at the lash line and move up. I don't want to go any farther than the crease. I mean, I could go in the crease. This is matte, so let's do that. Let's just go up into the crease a little bit. This is such a natural color, y'all. I don't know why I don't use this more, because it is like, this would be the perfect color if you are a makeup artist and you do set work a lot, like you work on shoots and your thing is like clean beauty. This is the type of product that you would use and nothing else. Just to contour out the eye, give it a little bit of dimension, and call it a day. Man, I like that color. Why do I not reach for that more? I don't even know. It's so natural. I don't even know if it's coming across on camera. I think it is. I think I can see it in the viewfinder. I'm not fancy. I don't have one of those big like TVs that some people do where they can look at themselves. I don't want to see myself that big. Oh, okay. I like it. that is going to go in my, like, stay on top of my vanity where I remember to use it more, because I have taupe in the matte, and I think those are the only 2 matte eye colors that I have. So if you know of any other matte ones that you really like, let me know, because I've been, you know, just wanting to really do matte looks lately for some reason. So just to kick it up a little bit, I'm going to go in with this shade from Nabla Cosmetics. Again, something I don't think I've ever talked about on my channel, but this is called Petra. That's so funny. That's the name of a character in Jane the Virgin, which I am just so hooked on right now. Okay, so Petra. It's like that, really pretty matte, almost like a terracotta brown color. And I'm just going to pick that up, and I'm just going to use it to add a little bit of dimension in the outer corner, because it is a very similar shade to that Terra. And then I'll take it a little bit up into the crease. But it just gives a little bit more depth while almost keeping it monochromatic. This is the Wayne Goss number 18 brush. I got this in my Lucky Bag. I did not film a Lucky Bag unboxing because I didn't need anybody else to tell me I was acting ungrateful, because I may have gotten the worst Lucky Bag on the face of the planet this year. It was pretty atrocious. Like, it would make no sense for me to do it again. I think when I added it up, it was only like $125 worth of stuff. When I paid $85 for it, it wasn't enough savings. It was all stuff that I would never use. They included a pair of $3.50 Ardell lashes, which I'm like, if that's an add-on, that's great. But that was like part of the box. That was one of the, I think I only got 5 things in it. I don't know. I was just sorely disappointed. So I did get an extra one of these Wayne Goss brushes. So I can't complain about that because I love Wayne Goss. So I just took that a little bit up into my crease, and then I'm going to take a brush with no product and kind of blend it out. And honestly, I was going to go back in with like a little bit of a shimmer on the lid, and I'm not going to, because I love the monochromatic vibe we got going on. All right, so how's that for a super eye look? Swipe on an eyeshadow stick and slap on something in the outer corner, and you are good to go. So let's go ahead and go back into the face now. I don't have any new setting powders for under the eyes, or any setting powders that I haven't used in a long time, so I'm just going to use my Laura Mercier Secret Blurring Powder. Per usual, and this concealer, I will say, does not need a ton of setting. Like, if you are someone with super dry under eyes that does not like to set or use any kind of powder products, I think you would actually be okay using this concealer. I know y'all aren't going to be able to see it, but I have one tiny little breakout right here and one tiny little breakout right here. That time of the month. And Eve ate the apple. Okay. So, as I am closely investigating my face, I don't know. I mean, this foundation sets down really nicely. Again, I don't know that you would hold that thought. I hate looking into the mirrors like this, because that's why I can't do a magnifying mirror. Anyways, what was I talking about? Oh, so it's set down really nicely. So if you aren't somebody who likes to use powder, I don't think you need to. I am. So we are going to use this. This was my favorite for like 2 months in a row, quite a while ago, and I just have not reached for it. It's the Note Luminous Compact Powder. I'm in the color 4 Sand, which looks pretty yellow, but it ends up working. And I'm just going to lightly tap that. Again, you don't need much powder with this foundation. So I'm just gonna lightly, don't you like how I said that? As I like cover my face in powder. But I do remember loving this because it just doesn't look like powder. So it set it really nicely, but I don't have this like really bad powdery look to my skin. All right, let's go into bronzer. Now, this bronzer I truly have not reached for because it can be such a pain in the behind, but I can't bring myself to get rid of it because it is Tomforde and because I spent so much flipping money on it. But it's the Tomforde Ultimate Bronzer. I have not tried their regular bronzers, but I would have to venture to say that they are better than the Ultimate ones, only because of the struggles that I have with this one, but also because of what I've heard from other people. This one is in the color Terra, and quite honestly, it just doesn't pick up on a brush. Now, I'm going to show you. And I'm going to use the Tomforde bronzing brush because if any brush should work with a Tomforde product, it should be the brush from the Tomforde line. Okay, so I'm going to, I'm just really getting in there. That looks like a lot, but it's really not. Like it barely comes off on my skin as a bronzer. So what I have to do, I saw this from Stephanie Nicole, and she was talking about this in the same exact product. I have to take a disposable spoolie, which I keep next to this bronzer in my bronzer drawer, and I have to run it on top of the product so that all of these little dust particles will come up. Then I load my brush and I go in and bronze my face. Even still, just doesn't show up as much. Like if I were to do that with any of my other bronzers with a spoolie, I would look like an Oompa Loompa. Like it would be not good. Now I can see it when I do this. And it could be I got the wrong color, but I really do think it's just the formula of the bronzer. It's just not my favorite. And it gets very messy doing this. Like my table now has bronzer pigment specks all over it. So again, I can get it to work like this. It is a little bit of extra work. And it does look very natural. I'm not trying to say it's a bad product. It just takes more work than so many of my other bronzers that I just don't tend to reach for it. So it's definitely showing up now, and we definitely need to buff it out. I'm aware. I take it down the middle of my face just to kind of even it up. Okay, so very pretty. Again, very natural. Really cannot be overdone. Just takes a little bit of work. Okay, so the highlight that I just have not reached for, is there a theme we've got going on? Yes, there is the MAC Oh Darling Extra Dimension Skin Finish Highlight. Now this is now permanent, but this is the limited edition packaging when they had just brought it out for Christmas a few years ago. And I cannot believe I got one because I think they sold out in like 10 minutes. But this was supposed to be, everybody was like, oh, it's like Whisper of Guilt. I tried Whisper of Guilt and I like this way better. It is a gold highlight. So, obviously if you're not a fan of gold, I would not suggest it. But it's really pretty. Oh, it is really pretty. All right, that's like way too much highlight, Mandy. Oh. Okay. For blush, I'm going to go into this palette. It's the Instant Look in a Palette Beauty Glow by Charlotte Tilbury. So I got this, I don't know, a couple summers ago, and I loved it. I wore it all the time. I did a couple looks with it on my channel. I travel with it. I love this middle color. I love this blush color. Both the blush colors are pretty, and they're so small, it's hard not to use a little bit of both unless you are using just the tiniest blush brush, which I don't prefer to use. So I'm really going to end up going into both of them, but this color right here in the middle is the one that I like to concentrate the most on, especially with a look like this, because it really is kind of the same undertone as my eyeshadows. And this blush is a beautiful eyeshadow. I used it as an eyeshadow in one of my videos that I did with this, and it was so pretty. So I'm just going to apply that. Okay, so I applied that as my blush, really pretty. It looks heavy, I understand. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna take this brush that I always buff with nothing on it, and kind of buff over all this stuff, because I'm gonna use a different buffing powder, which, can you imagine me cheating on my Hourglass? But because I don't exactly know how that's gonna go, I don't wanna rely on it to actually buff out all the products. So I'm just gonna take this brush with no product on it and buff away, which just that made such a difference. Now, the buffing powder that I talked about is this powder from Lancome. It's the Lancome Absolute Powder in Absolute Pesh. I got 2 of these sent to me so long ago, and I just never reached for them because for setting, it's way too luminous. It's a gorgeous powder. It's really even pretty. Like, I want to use it as just a highlighter. Probably should have done that today. But it's way too luminous for me to set with. So I'm going to take the same brush that I used to set my face and really get that powder into the bristles good, into the cap. And I'm going to use this to buff. Say a little prayer. I don't buff on my forehead because I don't want any extra luminosity up there. Okay, it's not too crazy. I don't dislike that at all, actually. I don't really have a spray, a finishing spray that I don't reach for because I pretty much use the same like 1 or 2 every day. But this was on my counter because I took it out of my kit. It's almost gone and I need to take it to Back to Mac, but it's the Fix Plus. Obviously not new, but not something I use a lot. So I thought I would use it today. Now I'm going to go back into that Nabla shadow that we used. And my wing Goss number 20. Can you guess what I'm about to do? Buff out my lower lash line. I mean, this may be like become my go-to look for my eyes. It's so easy and so pretty. Okay, now I'm not going to do my lashes on camera because it's so repetitive and like just you've seen it. But I have been going back lately to my Chanel Le Volume de Chanel mascara because a couple of y'all have noticed it in my description box because it's about to expire and it's not cheap and I don't want to waste it. So I'm going to use it until it expires. And that's what I'm going to do right now, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so I did my mascara and then I also used a little bit of the face highlight from this palette on my inner corner and brow bone. So the only thing left that we have to do is lips. And I have a couple of options. Just depends on, I may end up using all 3 because it depends on how dark this one is. But this is the By Terry Impact Color, Rouge Expert Click Stick. Lipstick. This is the color Bare Me, number 3. So you click it up and it comes out in this really cool like teardrop shape, which it helps almost like serve as a liner as well. They sent a couple colors to me quite a while ago. The other one I really like. It's a much browner color though. So I'm going to use this and see how it looks. It's very matte and my lips are super dry anyways. I had a breakout, which I haven't had in so long on my lips. I'm so upset. But it's on the tail end of that. So they're just super dry. But I do really like that color. And so I don't even think I'm going to go into the other lipstick. I'm just going to put this lip gloss on top. This is the Marc Jacobs Cream and Sugar Enamored Lip Gloss. Now, I got this in a set that had like a little lipstick and it had a lip liner. I don't know if you can get this color separate now. I will link it if you can. And I don't even know if you can still get this set. But I don't even think I've used this once since I have gotten it. And so I'm just going to... It's High Shine, which I'm not mad about because I love a glossy lip. I like those together. Yep, that's exactly what I wanted for this look. I didn't want anything too like concealer-y nude because I wanted the colors to kind of match with the eyes, and this is exactly what I wanted. So I am super pleased with the final look of this Shop My Stash. I'm trying to see. The skin is gorgeous. I don't know that it's any better than when I used my other products, but it is very pretty. I'm very happy with it. I'm even really happy with that bronzer once I got, to working with it. The eyes and the lips are my favorite out of this. Like, I will be doing this eye look for the next week. You'll probably hear about it in my favorites this month. So that is Shopping My Stash. I used all products that I have not touched in a while. A lot of them you haven't ever seen on my channel. So hopefully you enjoyed this. Let me know if you want to keep seeing them. Again, I feel like I'm having my collection, no, it's not whittled down. I could do more of these. So if you want to see more of them, let me know down in the comment section below. As always, y'all, thank you so much for watching. I so appreciate your continued support, and I hope you all go out and have a very blessed day.